This is Jeff Durkin with We Are Change CT, giving you guys a breaking news update involving the Silk Road trial. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the sentencing hearing in New York City today in New York City. But what happened was, unfortunately, Ross Ulbricht has now become yet another victim of the so-called justice system that is taking place now involving the Silk Road trial and what has been happening with that. And he's been sentenced a few hours ago to life in prison. The minimum that Judge Katherine Forrest, who presided over Ross's case, could give him was 20 years, and the government's argument was basically the idea to make an example out of him, to basically set as a precedent. And this is not the first time we've seen this for other cases such as Jeremy Hammond, Barrett Brown, among other cases similar to this in scope, where it is much bigger than just Ross Ulbricht. It's much bigger than Silk Road itself. It has major implications for the internet and how commerce is used on the internet and how people use transactions, whether it's illicit drugs, stuff like that. All of those different examples have major implications with this case. But again, it was a couple hours ago that Ross Ulbricht has now been sentenced to life in prison. I'm going to do a full video on this with a bigger breakdown. But in the meantime, you could check out the link in the description below where I interviewed a good friend of mine and fellow journalist Derek Brose, who has extensively covered this case for thelibertybeat.com. Check out his work at thelibertybeat.com and follow him on Twitter at dbrosLiveFree for updates, because he was there today. And check out his great work in covering this very important case that everyone should be paying attention about. So check out that. And it all goes back to February, where Ross was convicted at the verdict on all 7 counts involving the Silk Road website, where the government, through their own conclusions, came out that he was the Dread Pirate Roberts, the pseudonym which was the leader and founder of Silk Road, that the government shut down back in 2013 and arrested Ross for that, and ever since he has been in custody as a result. And now, up until this point, back in February, convicted on all 7 counts, and now, just a few hours ago, on May 29th, 2015, today, he's now been sentenced to life in prison. Again, the government's minimum was 20 years, mandatory minimum, so the lowest he could have gotten was 20 years in prison. But unfortunately, another sad day for really internet freedom in general. He has now been sentenced to life in prison. So stay tuned for updates. I'll be doing a full breakdown about the government's justification and the government's case against Ross Ulbricht and the bigger, wider implications of this case. But again, you could check out my interview with Derek Brose a few months ago about this case and the implications of it in the description below. And be sure to follow his work and check out his latest articles on it. He'll be posting some very good stuff, I'm sure, about this case and really the bigger implications that this case has on not just internet freedom, but in general, the aspects of how we operate on the internet without going through government channels, government clearance, etc. So again, thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned for more updates coming soon.